All right, welcome back to the series on where we're trying to build our own SaaS, which is powered by AI, of course, Cloudinary. But we're also learning a ton of things about the other tech stuff. And one of the things which I wanted to cover in this video was Prisma. Prisma seems to be really awesome. I love it personally, the way how it designed the models and how it interact with the model as well, getting the information, sending the information. It's all really amazing. There is also another competitor in the town, which is known as Drizzle. A lot of people love that too. And by having the knowledge of Prisma, you can easily work around with the Drizzle as well. Probably I'll cover that in some later on videos. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel because I do cover them a lot. And in this video, we'll be just quickly going through with the Prisma, and I'll walk you through with a couple of options that you can choose for Prisma. It's going to be a really easy guide, and I'll show you a couple of options that you can do. Once we are set up with that, we'll also going to go ahead and route so that we can query our database and find out some information as well. It's super easy. So that this will be used on our homepage. In the homepage, we are listing all the videos. So we need all the information that we probably want to store in the videos. It's going to be easy. For the video part, we'll be using the Cloudinary. I'll walk you through the video upload part a little bit later on, probably in the next video. But this time, this is all what we're going to do with the Prisma. So consider this as a kind of a crash course for Prisma and NeonDB or any Postgres database or any other database that you want to use. So let's go ahead and let me share the screen with you first. So here we are. And we want to generate this kind of mechanism for the Cloudinary that, hey, if I go ahead and hover it, it automatically just plays the video and we just go with that. It's an easy part to work with that. Now go on to Prisma. This is the Prisma docs. Go to prisma.io. I never actually paid attention that it's a .io and just saw it today only. Anyways, I've been on their website like almost a lot of time, but I've never seen that. Anyways, you can just click on get started, and Prisma allows you to get started with a couple of ways, from scratch or from existing. We'll be going with the scratch, and this is how you get started with the scratch. 15 minutes. I think they are optimistic. It can be done much faster if you are seasoned in that. We'll be picking up relational databases, and this is how you go with that. We don't need to do all of this. We have already a product or a project. We already have CD'd into it. We already have npm install. All we need is this line. So we're going to go ahead and just have this one. You will be surprised to know that this is a -- save dev. So all of this that you're installing is not going to be bothering you in the production. They are dev dependencies. That's really nice. So yes, that's where I was storing all of my videos. So I'll just go ahead and just go like that. And are we in the same project? Yes, we are in the correct project. So let's go ahead and install that. That should be done fairly fast. Let's go back. Now this creates a package.json. Yes, and of course. And are we using TypeScript? Yes, we are using TypeScript. Sorry, I'm recording video after a couple of days, so get that. Now after that, what we have to do is we have to say npx Prisma. You can invoke the Prisma by CLX. Next up is Prisma ORM project. So what we're going to do is after that, we're going to say npx Prisma and init. We want to initialize it. If you can zoom out a little, that would be good. We don't want to just initialize it. We want to actually set up an Prisma project, which also sets up a schema file. I'll walk you through what the schema file is. Let's just copy this. Nice copy button. And just go ahead and say Prisma init. This doesn't take much time because it just generates a couple of things for you. Now it says that, hey, a couple of instructions were given to us. The first one is set the database URL in .env file. All right, I'll do that. And after that, set the provider of the data source, block, schema, and database, Postgres. So whatever the database and all these stuffs. You can run Prisma DB pull to turn your database schema into the Prisma, or you can simply run Prisma generate to generate the Prisma client. We will use that a little bit later. And there are a couple of more commands as well, like Prisma migrates and stuff. We will definitely be going in that part as well, but a little bit later. Right now, let's just go ahead and explore what all has happened just here. So if I go up here, I can see there is a new folder known as Prisma. It has just one file which says prisma.schema. All right, so you have one file. In this file, I can see the provider is PostgreSQL, and you can see this file is not really Prisma-ish file. So I can go ahead and install an extension for it. So let's go ahead and install an extension. I don't have it. So I'm going to go ahead and say Prisma. They have their extension Prisma. Do we have extension of Prisma? Prismal? No, I don't. I want Prisma. I'm sure there is a Prisma extension. Why I'm not able to find it. Anyways, we'll just go back there. We'll figure it out later on. So this is the part one where you just go ahead and have the database providers and stuff like that. We will definitely come back onto this one, that what's all is going on. But one thing we have reduced is we have a Postgres and the environment is database URL. And if I go into .env, or you can go in the .env local as well, it's picking up a database URL which is on this place, which is absolutely not functional for me. So how can I resolve this? There are a couple of ways how you can resolve this. I'll walk you through with both. The step one is to go ahead and install Postgres on your own machine, which is really a tedious task in itself. Or the easier way, you can just have a Dockerized system to have the Postgres. I'll walk you through with the Dockerized first. So go on to docs.chicode.com, and in the DevOps stuff, you'll find the first one as Postgres installation. What this does is you need to have Docker installed in your system. Once you have installed this, just create a new file and copy this whole code. Once you have copied the whole code and run the command, this one, docker compose up-d, it's going to spin up Postgres without installing it in a Dockerized container environment, and you will be able to interact with this on this URL. So that's one job. Everything is localized, it's Docker, and everything is nice. And I also gives you an utility, if you'll read this more. If you can open this up localhost 8080, this is where you can see your database as well, because in this entire thing, I actually install an admirer as well, which helps you to peek inside the database. So that's the part one. If you want to go ahead and try it, that's always nice. You can also go ahead and try the Neon database, neon.tech. They are pretty good, solid. They provide a free resource to have a database. We'll be using them. But again, you don't need to use them. You can feel free to use whatever you like. I'm just using it for the easiness, and in the future, if they drop out their free plan, you can always go with the Postgres part. So tutorial will be still active. So we're going to call this one as SaaS because I'm building one. Postgres version 16 is fine. The database name is going to be my SaaS, Cloudinary SaaS, Cloudinary, just fine is enough. Where you can put it, I think Europe would be nearer to me. Anyways, it's equally same. And we're going to create the project. And now we can see we have the project, we have the Postgres. And now we have this Postgres thing as I can just copy the snippet, just copy this and go ahead and paste it up here. So inside this, I can just go ahead and paste it like this. Now, of course, it shows the password and stuff, but don't worry, by the time you will be watching the video, I might have deleted that, hopefully. And I'm pretty sure I have. Okay. Once we're done with this, this means that now the magic part of this is all done and we have all this provided. Now, a couple of things only you need to see up here is the first one is the Prisma, there is a generator client and then there is a database source of it. So database source says that, hey, you are connected with the Postgres and I will provide you a utility so that you can interact with this model and the database, and that will be done by Prisma client.js. This is a JavaScript based client which will allow me to interact with it. There are more clients, not just JavaScript. There are so many languages available in the Prisma, but we're not going to go in too much depth of it. We will just probably write some of the models first. So models are like defining your schema for the application. All right, before moving forward, we need to install the Prisma extension. I was just doing a typo in that, so I looked for it. And yes, there is a Prisma installation available, so I can just go ahead and install it so that it doesn't look like that I'm giving a coding interview. It looks like I'm actually building a product and there is some color highlights and stuff there. It's pretty easy. You can just install it. Prisma, guys, it's officially from Prisma, and this is how it looks like now. So much better. We'll just go with that. So Prisma. All right, so what we're going to do after this is we're going to define our model, and there are a lot more tutorial that can go in depth of it, but we're going to just keep it absolutely to the basics. We need just a model. So we're going to go ahead and say, hey, I need a model. And this model, we're going to call this one as a video. Now this video model is going to have a couple of properties that we're going to define. The first one is going to be ID to uniquely identify it. And I can mention this as this is going to be a string. Can I hit tab? Yep. ID, and this is going to be of type string. Each data type or each property that you want to store in the database, you write that. Since ID is going to be unique, there are a couple of ways how you actually mention it. The first one is going to be ID, that makes it a unique identifier. We will also mention that what's going to be the default of it. So in the default, we'll say there are lots of ways. If you just hit the space, we have DB generated. You can use UUID, you can use CUID, pick your favorite one. I'm going to go just with the CUID. I also want to store the title of each video that user is uploading. So I'm going to go ahead and say this is going to be a string type, just like that. We also might have description, or we will have description. Description. There we go. And this is going to be string, but we'll keep it optional. You can just put a question mark and there we go. The moment you save it, I think it restructure it. Yep, it restructures it, makes it much more visible. So there's go description. Then the most important part is public ID. Now this public ID is something that will be given to us by the Cloudinary. Once we upload the video, we'll get a response back. Out of that, we will extract that public ID and then we'll save the information just here. So there we go, nice and easy string. We will also keep original size. And there are a couple of ways how to find the original size. We can do that while uploading the video, or Cloudinary can also send you back the original size. Then we have compressed size. That's the USB of our SaaS that we have this compressed size. The best part about the compressed size is it's going to be given to us again by the Cloudinary. They are doing the heavy lifting part. Then we're going to go ahead and say duration. That's a number, that how long is your video. We can easily go ahead and find that, and probably we'll use a utility to actually structure that better in hours and minutes. We're going to go ahead and say this is also going to be a string. And after that, basics. So created at, which is going to be date time, and this is going to be, let's have a default for this one as well, default, which is going to be now. Similar to this, we'll be having updated at, and this one is going to be also date time. And then we're going to call this one also as at updated at. Save this, and this is all. Now, definitely we can talk more about the relations and whatnot, but this is not the right time. Once we are done with this, then majority of the work is all done. Now things should be all done and okay. And if your connection is all okay, now we can actually go ahead and do a lot of stuff. First of all, that we want to do is we can just go ahead and migrate this whole thing. So let's go ahead and try this. If we can successfully migrate this data, I'm going to go ahead and say npx Prisma, and then we can go ahead and migrate it. And we're going to say migrate dev, and we're going to go ahead and name it as well. So this is just a name tag that you are adding onto it. So let's go ahead and create this environment variable loaded. It's going up somewhere. It's doing something. Hopefully it will be finished very soon. Come on, do it faster. Let's see in the meantime if something is happening to the NeonDB. We can just go ahead and hit a refresh. And we can see our dashboard. We have SQL editors, branches. So many things are there. So we have this Cloudinary going on. This is the main branch. Let's see. It is taking a little time. It is applying the migration. Yeah, sometimes it takes time, or probably just my internet. Don't know the reason, but it is happening. All right, so let's go into the dashboard. Is it taking? Yep, so it has generated. Now look at this, couple of things have happened. Your database is now in sync with your schema. So first of all, it has done some of the SQL stuff. If you look at the migration, it literally shows you what has happened in the TOML file as well, like what's the provider and stuff. If you go ahead and init, this is your SQL. So it literally wrote SQL for you so that you don't have to do it. Although it's a very basic SQL, but hey, you don't have to touch the SQL. That's a good part. If I go ahead and do a quick refresh, and we should be able to see some interaction, probably not. All right, so let's go ahead and see the tables. And come on, load this up. All right, so we have ID, checksum, rollback started at, nope, nothing for us. Oh, we have a video here. There we go. ID, title, description, public ID, original size. So everything is up here and we will be able to see that. That's nice. And you can just go ahead and run a couple of more commands like migrate and deploy. But anyways, we are all done with this part. So this is a part one where you set up the things in the backend stuff. We have already done the connection with the database. We don't need to read this again. We have used the Prisma migrate. You don't need to do this again. Yeah, we use the same. Everybody uses the same. Now let's install the Prisma client. So what it does is nicely mentioned up here. So this is your Prisma generate. It generates CLI and all of this. What we want is to interact with this. So what this is going to do is this Prisma client, when you install it, it actually installs a new utility in your node modules. And that utility is actually aware of what's happening in your database migration. So it can provide you the better suggestions on that. And let's go ahead and generate this. So npx install Prisma, go back up here, paste that. This is actually a main utility because it provides you the suggestions and whatnot based on this. So this is our Prisma client, and hopefully this should be all done. Let's go ahead and see how the things are looking now. First of all, let me close all these things because too much of the stuff is there. All right, close this, migration. We have studied all of this. Now let's open up the app and let's go into API because that's going to be fun. We'll be writing our very first API and that's going to be in the videos route. So let's go ahead and create a new folder. Come on. Yeah. Folder, and let's call this one as video. Inside the video, since whenever you're writing any APIs, you need to have one file with the strict name of route. No other name is allowed. You have to have route.ts. In the Next.js, the convention is /API, wherever you are hosting, localhost / whatever the port, and then /API/video is going to be a URL. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use Prisma client to have a connection. It already has a connection, by the way. And then we will be just fetching some of the data, find many from the database, and we'll just grab it. That's the goal. Let's go ahead and say we are going to use import, and we need some stuff. And that stuff will be coming up from next server. Next/server. What do we need? We need just the request and response. So we'll be having a next request and we will be having next response. There we go. After that, we need Prisma. For the first time, we are importing the Prisma. So this is actually Prisma client. That's the one we need. This is, again, this Prisma client extension. We probably don't need it from extension. We can just go with the Prisma client itself. Anyways, now we can define just one method, which is going to just connect with the Prisma, and we'll be just fetching that. So let's go ahead and first of all prepare the Prisma, and that's going to be new Prisma client, just like that. So connection will be established. I don't have to do any connection magic that, hey, connection, check this. Prisma does it all for me. I don't do any of the stuff. So export async, because obviously it's going to be an async method, and then we are going to have a function and get. This is how you write functions in the Next.js. We're going to go ahead and say this is going to be our request, which will be of type next request. Of course, we are in TypeScript. Now, the step one is to wrap everything with the try catch, because you're messing around with the database. Whenever you're messing around with the database, things can go wrong, really, really wrong. All right, next step is just to have the database, and you will be surprised to know that it's super easy with the Prisma. If I go ahead and say Prisma and I go ahead and say, hey, I want to go ahead and use a video. So just like this, use a video. And then this is the model, and you can just put up a dot and you can see so many methods available to you. Find unique, find many, group by. Much easier. It almost gives like a mongoose kind of a vibe, and much easier than writing the SQL. So let's just use find many because I want to find many. And again, I don't have any parameters to go ahead and find it. So I'm going to go ahead and just use it like this. I can go ahead and further use an order by clause to go ahead and provide that, hey, I want to use it like this. And there we go. And in this, I'll just go ahead and say I'll be filtering it based on the created at, and let's just use the first one here. So looks good. If you have more condition, you can go ahead and give that. We are going to go ahead and store that in a variable. Let's call this one as videos. There we go. And that's it. Told you, it is super easy. Now, when we are returning the response, we can just go ahead and return the response like that. So let's just go ahead and say return next response dot JSON. And in that, we are going to go ahead and send the videos. That's it. That is all it takes to work with the Prisma. Now in the catch part, let's also handle that. Since we are here, we're going to go ahead and return the next response with a JSON of error. Something went wrong. No, that's a bad message. That shouldn't be there. We're going to say error fetching videos, and we're going to send a status. And no matter what happens, we're going to also run one good practice with the Prisma, which is going to be finally, and I can just go ahead and say await, and Prisma can disconnect. So we're going to go ahead and say Prisma dot, and we can use $disconnect. All right, so this seems pretty okay to me. All right, so since we have written this much, it's a good idea to at least test this and see what Prisma returns me when I say find many. At least it should return an empty array. So since we are here already, let's go ahead and test this. So for this, let's go ahead and first and fire up. Super easy, npm run dev. Yeah, that's the one. And we don't need to even open this up. Environment variable should be loaded up. Let me go ahead and fire up my Postman. And what we're going to do is we have this localhost 3000. Then we have slash API slash videos. Let's go ahead and send a GET request onto this one. This should be okay. Nope, not okay. A lot of stuff. All right, so what happened? Get at slash API slash videos. Oh, we have a video. No worries, we can make a request to video as well. Video, send this. Ooh, again an error. Interesting. It sends get sign in. Why should I sign in? I made it in the middleware. And oh, I see it videos here. So either change it here or change it there. I'll probably change it here. Let's go ahead and rename this videos. Let's go ahead. Now the right routing should be public. It's also a good test that we are able to test our middleware as well. Let's go ahead and send it again to videos. Let's send this. Let's see what is happening. Oh, finally we are getting an empty array, which is a good sign that yes, it is working. And yeah, that's it. Good test. Good test. All right, so we have learned about the Prisma. We have got it. Now we can start building API for our application. We can start uploading the images. We can start uploading the videos as well. This was a pretty fun video. I hope you have enjoyed this. From the next video, we'll start implementing the Cloudinary part of the video. I hope you are very excited about it. I'm very much excited for this. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that, and I'll catch you up in the next video.